Nothing starts a flame war quite like K-On! It's an argument you've heard countless times before. What sort of lolicon degenerate could actually enjoy a series about cute girls eating cake and drinking tea? K-On's so moe, it's practically become the face of the style. To some, K-On! Embodies everything wrong with modern anime, from the mind-numbing cuteness to the uninspired plot, which has stifled creativity as countless series try to ride its coattails. However, others see things completely different. To them, K-On! Tells a relatable, realistic coming-of-age story complete with an emotional heart few shows tap into. Whichever side of the fence you lie on, you can't deny its success. Immediately upon airing back in 2009, K-On! Quickly rode into the biggest cultural phenomenon since Haruhi Suzumiya, and is still to this day one of the most lucrative franchises in Japan, becoming the first anime to sell over 500,000 Blu-ray discs. We could debate what exactly led to the craze, but I'm more interested in the critical side of things. Why do people like this show? Ostensibly, K-On! Is as simple as it gets. One quick glance at the first episode tells you all you need to know. Or so people like to think. While I can't speak for everyone, I can at least explain why K-On! Works for me. With that, I'm here today to settle once and for all that K-On! Is more than cute girls doing cute things. After all, that narrow-minded description couldn't possibly capture the whole show, right? Well... Okay, so maybe that's exactly what it is. Yes, K-On! Is about cute girls doing cute things. There's nothing wrong with that statement. The problem comes in when you say K-On! Is only about cute girls doing cute things. For many, the relaxing nature is the appeal. What better way to unwind than by watching a laid-back circle of friends sit around and have fun? They like K-On! Because it doesn't have high stakes or a gripping, balls-to-the-wall plot. It's charming, funny, and enjoyable, and if the simple moe style doesn't speak to you, oh well. Countless shows do that, however, and while I'd argue none do so as well as K-On!, I'm more interested in what it does differently. K-On! Is not the episodic series of misadventures some paint it out to be. The overarching narrative about a group of girls' flourishing bond and the inevitability of change is present throughout, with it all coming full circle in the latter half of the second season. Before you write me off as some neckbeard trying to invent deeper meaning behind the series, let me be clear. With K-On!, what you see is what you get. If all you want is moe blobs being moe blobs, that's all you'll get. If you put that aside, however, you'll find a surprisingly realistic story of friendship and growth. What separates K-On! From so many others of its ilk is a different spin on the coming-of-age story, as the girls move closer to the next chapter of their lives. Where most coming-of-age stories focus on great swaths of change as the youthful protagonist transitions into adulthood, K-On! Takes it in a completely different direction, with a payoff that's just as rewarding. It's about enjoying the little things while you can, because nothing lasts forever. While they don't ever see huge leaps of growth, each of the 5 girls learn something significant from their journey, perfectly capturing that period of time and how quickly it seems to fly by. Between the writing, direction, music, and world, K-On!'s story never fails to provide meaningful moments. Its episodes aren't loosely strewn together comedic ventures with no greater significance to the characters. Each one has something important to offer, creating a moving narrative while never losing sight of the hilarity which makes it fun. To see what I mean, let's start at the very beginning. The first episode introduces us to each of the main characters and their eccentric personalities without revealing too much about their interactions. When we're first introduced to Yui, she's as clumsy and disoriented as can be. With smart direction, we immediately get a sense of her personality. Cute, girly, easily distracted, and very much childlike. It's important to note in this first scene how she's only excited to start high school, and gets there early purely by accident. A bit lazy and absent-minded, Yui has no idea what she wants to do and doesn't even know where to begin. K-On!'s first episode clearly establishes this won't be about the struggles of a high school band trying to reach the big stage. When Ritsu spells out a dramatic backstory behind the band's inception complete with teary-eyed motivation, Mio quickly shoots her down. Even the animation in this moment moves from a hyper-detailed look with lots of movement during Ritsu's emotional spiel before devolving back into the less focused moe blob style. This is perhaps the biggest misconception people take into the series, expecting a band drama but getting a moe slice of life. However, the show never pretends it's anything else. If that's the story you want, go watch Euphonium, or better yet, Beck. K-On! Is always about the girls' interactions with each other and their growing bond throughout the series. Of course, Ritsu's goal to play a Budokan is never going to happen. The point of the series isn't find your passion and chase your dreams. It's about finding a place you're comfortable with where you can be yourself and enjoy every moment you've got. Yui's journey to find her niche drives the first season, as she finally comes to realize a place she loves. After misunderstanding the meaning of light music, thinking it'll be an easy ride, her initial reason for joining the club perfectly illustrates her character at the start of the series. Yui wants to do something but has no clue where to start, so she falls back on the easiest thing she comes across. She decides to stay, however, when she sees the band isn't very good, but look like they're having a lot of fun, again demonstrating what the series is really about. Not the music, but the girls' friendship. Yui's okay with relying on her friends for help, but also knows when she ought to take care of herself. In episode 2, she decides to return the money the girls raised for her to buy a guitar, feeling bad for using their hard work to fulfill her selfish wish. Later, when Ritsu teases her, she hastily accepts Mugi's apology cake, opposing her more reserved reactions from before. Yui's far more comfortable with them now, fully accepted into the group. While Yui's arc serves as the backdrop of the first season, it's Mio that first introduces the series' overarching theme in episode 4. This moment introduces a theme that will continue to play out through the rest of the series, as Mio finally realizes it's precisely because they're having fun, which makes their music special. Not necessarily good, but captivating. Notice how the animation as Yui jams in the fireworks becomes more detailed and fluid, emphasizing how this is why they play. Sawako-sensei's history with the Light Music Club reinforces this idea. Back in high school, she morphed into a crazy rock star in hopes of attracting her crush, but she wound up doing more harm than good. It seems to say, find what you love and do it for yourself. Never let others dictate what you do. Mio's story arc in the first season continues to demonstrate this. After Yui loses her voice thanks to Sawako's harsh methods, Mio has to perform the vocals at the school festival. Crippled with stage fright but determined to do her best, the others give her the encouragement she needs and the performance goes perfectly. Minus one mishap at the end. It's a heartwarming sequence and a huge moment for the girls as the first realization of their goals, and Mio in particular as she moves one step closer to breaking out of her shell. Kinda. She's forced to sing again at the freshman welcome concert when Yui forgets the lyrics on stage, but here she reacts instinctively with no time to worry. With each performance, Mio grows less terrified, until she fills in for Yui at the second cultural festival with little trouble at all. You can clearly see her growth from beginning to end, and it's because she's surrounded by the people she feels most comfortable with. The latter half of Season 1 largely focuses on Azusa, and her conflict with the carefree attitude of the others. Thanks to the club's less than stellar recruiting methods, Azusa initially passes up on them due to their lack of seriousness. However, much like Yui back in episode 1, she decides to join after seeing them perform. Her arrival is much to the delight of the rest of the group, but she quickly regrets the decision when she realizes daily club activities consist of dicking around. Despite her best efforts to get them focused, only Mio tries to help, and the others quickly revert back to the cake and tea routine, with Yui literally fueled by sweets. Her frustration eventually reaches a tipping point and she considers leaving the club for a real band. However, with Mio having gone through a similar experience, she realizes it's their chemistry and fun which makes the Light Music Club special. Azusa is a bit of a wet blanket at first, but her arc offers some of the most meaningful thematic moments throughout the series, with this first segment once again demonstrating the significance of their friendship. The extra episode flat out shows us how much they need each other, as they all run into trouble or boredom on their own. A random text from Yui cheers them up, however, and we see they're much more capable when they're together. At some point, Mio and Ritsu have a bit of a falling out when Ritsu gets jealous of all the time Mio's spending with Nodoka, one of the few real conflicts the girls face. However, the dispute is resolved almost as soon as it starts, when Mio takes care of Ritsu when she gets sick. These types of arguments are important to establish the girls' humanity. They're not always cheerful robots. It's easily the most realistic handling of this sort of drama I've seen, as there's no exaggerated blowouts or over-the-top teary reconciliations, yet it still manages to reinforce how important Mio and Ritsu are to each other. K-On! Doesn't need such showy, melodramatic conflicts because they would defeat the point. This isn't some half-baked TMZ garbage. The story is about Yui and the others finding their place together, and as long as you can connect to that, it's quite a ride on its own. The final episode of Season 1 brings it full circle, as we're treated to a repeat of the first scene of the series with Yui rushing to school, only this time she has purpose. There's no falling down, petting cats, or helping old ladies cross the street now. As Yui reflects on her journey to this point, she finally understands she's found her place. When she reaches her friends on stage, they reassure her, and she proclaims this auditorium, where they can play and share the product of their friendship, is their Botogun. It's an incredibly endearing moment and easily the emotional high point of the first season, serving as a fulfilling end to this chapter of the story. Season 1 only offers a taste of what's to come though, as the series' themes play a much larger role in Season 2. Still, we can already see how important the Light Music Club is to Yui, as it's the first group she's ever really been a part of. The prevailing message behind Season 1 seems to be a fairly basic tome on the importance of friendship, finding your place, and of course, having fun. The second season delves into more interesting themes in my mind, as the idea of change and time starts to become ever-present, constantly whispering all good things must come to an end. Or do they? The season opens with another scene of Yui rushing to school. She's still as absent-minded as ever, misreading her alarm clock again, but this time something's different. Yui has a reason to be there now. She's here to practice. Barely able to contain her excitement, it's a clear illustration of both Yui's growth and her motivation. With their final year of high school underway, the girls excitedly try to recruit new members so Azusa won't be alone after they graduate. Even though we flew through 2 years of high school and only 12 episodes in Season 1, this is the first moment time hit me. We really have come a long way in their journey, and despite the series' slow pacing, are already on the downslope. The girls' enthusiasm to spend their senior year with each other is appropriate, as the looming endgame hasn't dawned on them yet, save Azusa. Hell, I remember the same feeling of excitement back when I started my senior year, and how, just like in the show, it seemed a bit unreal. In the end, they all agree to let the problem wait for the future, and enjoy their time with each other as much as they can now. Sawako offers a warning with flashing red lights that the year will fly by before they know it, but the girls remain unconvinced. With that, the stage for Season 2 is set. Overall, there's a marked improvement from the first season to the second in nearly every area, from the animation and music to the story and themes. Naoko Yamada's direction is as strong as ever, using nearly every frame to her advantage. The repeated shot of Aesop's tortoise and the hair on the banister is a perfect example. Focus shots on the turtle serve as a constant reminder of the show's theme to slow down and enjoy life. You should strive to be like the tortoise, for it's that person who wins the race. The turtle motif is always present. It's no coincidence the Light Music Club gets a turtle as a pet in the second episode of Season 2, but you might not make the connection at first. While the overarching narrative dominates the second half, Season 2 offers plenty of individual character moments throughout the first. Ritsu at one point decides she wants to trade instruments, tired of never being in the spotlight. Ultimately, however, she realizes even though she may be in the background, she loves playing the drums and couldn't envision herself doing anything else. In other words, do what you love. When the club puts on a tea party for Mio's fan club at Notika's request, Mio is initially embarrassed with all the festivities, but a slideshow of her time in the Light Music Club soothes her fears, even going so far as to read a poem for her fans. While the meaning is lost on them, to us it's quite clear. Time is best spent with the ones you love. Mio even gives a performance to them with no problems at all. Later, when she and Ritsu are cast as Romeo and Juliet respectively, an odd role reversal Yui points out several times, Mio finally gets over her stage fright and delivers a terrific performance. Her story arc may have the most tangible growth of any. She's still the same reserved, easily frightened Mio, but her shyness is no longer paralyzing like it once was. Mugi has a hilarious episode where she tries to get Mio to hit her, wanting the same bond she has with Ritsu. When all of her efforts prove futile, she eventually gives up before Ritsu finally hits her for saying she'd attract the girls if she was a boy. The whole plot is silly as Mugi comes to understand her bond with the other girls is just as strong as any. She gets the least focus of all the band members, so this episode was a much-needed piece of character growth. Even Sawako earns the spotlight when one of her former band members asks her to perform at her wedding. Determined to keep her past in the past, she initially refuses, but ultimately steps in when Yui starts to give Death Devil a cute image filling in. Despite her secret rock star history coming out, the students love her anyway, and Sawako realizes all she has to do is be herself. Yui and Ui's relationship also takes on additional focus in Season 2, as their odd parent-child dynamic is flipped when Ui falls ill. Realizing how important she is to her, Yui writes a song dedicated to Ui, easily the most meaningful lyrics of any song to this point in the show. It's a beautiful piece in context and represents a turn in the series' music. Most of Hokugo Tea Time songs are frilly nonsense. However, starting with You and I, the songs at the end of the series begin to take on added meaning, as the group reflects on their time in the club and how thankful they are for their underclassmen. Even the second ending has a more serious tone to it, with the lyrics highlighting the main theme of Season 2. Just look at the chorus. It's all about relishing the present and putting off the future. They want to hold on to their days with each other, refusing to let them become only memories. Azusa's song in the final episode puts the perfect wrap on the series, but we'll get to that in a minute. Her character arc is more closely connected to the overarching themes, constantly afraid of being left behind when the others graduate. This moment in episode 13 perfectly represents her story. When Azusa runs into the others at a summer festival, she comments how beautiful the image is before losing them in a crowd, representing her fear of getting left behind. Azusa's the only girl who understands how short the remaining time together is, with that concern weighing on her throughout the season. The others seem content to cross that bridge when they get there, like in episode 8 when Yui and Ritsu can't decide what they want to do after high school. Sawako rejects Yui's initial career choice of musician, so she says she'll try her best for now instead. Time plays a bigger role as the season wears on, with the end to their days together looming. The Summer Rock Festival in episode 12 is the second time it really hit me, and I'll admit to nearly shedding a tear or two. Much like Mio back in season 1, Yui realizes it's their chemistry or aura that makes them special, and the girls promise to play together forever and ever. It's a bittersweet moment as you know the end is coming whether they're ready for it or not. Finally, in episode 20, at the emotional climax of the series, the realization of the impending finish to their time in the Light Music Club and the finality of it all hit them like a sack of bricks. After their final school festival performance goes perfectly, the girls look forward to going through all these fun times again next year, before they realize this is it. I don't think I need to elaborate on what makes this moment so special. Anime doesn't usually make me cry, but I was a puddle on the floor after this scene. K-On! Perfectly captures the bittersweet feeling of growing up and moving on. I first watched the series the summer after I graduated high school, and damn if it didn't exactly match what that feeling is like. The girls have put off the future the entire season, and now, finally, we see they know what it means. Change is inevitable. You can't run away from time. It's a crushing moment, to be sure, but perfectly sets up the series' final thematic push into the film and graduation. The K-On! Movie is all about change, as the group tries to make one last memory before they leave. The film opens with some hilarious fake drama, as they pretend to shift to a new Death Devil style, causing Yui and Ritsu to fight over the band's direction. The big breakup is a ruse, of course, as Yui thought it would be fun to try it out. This sort of conflict simply isn't their style, however. They are who they are, and shouldn't try to stray away from that. A lesson that is beautifully reincorporated at the end of the film. The girls decide to take a trip to London to ring out their senior year, while Yui, Ritsu, Mio, and Mugi secretly work on a song for Azusa as a thank you gift to her. Yui wants to make it their biggest work yet, but can't figure out how. This is K-On! At its best. The film has everything which makes the series great, including some of its funniest and moving moments. The animation is a clear step up, but even the direction seems stronger. One aspect of K-On! That always stands out is how realistic the world is, thanks in no small part to the incredible detail the KyoAni team put into it. The high school is closely based on an elementary school in Toyosato. The train station Mugi uses is the Shigakuin station in Kyoto, and even the fast food restaurant is modeled after a real-life McDonald's. The girls' senior trip to Kyoto includes several real-life stops, such as the Iwatayama Monkey Park, almost identical to the anime version right down to the gorgeous view of the city. The statue seen behind Sokobe-senpai is actually a real-life statue of William S. Clark at Hokkaido University. The summer festival Sawako takes the girls to is based on the Fuji Rock Festival, which is held annually in the Naiba ski resort. Hell, the amount of detail put into the London locations would require an entire video on its own. K-On! Even includes a bevy of musical references, including countless nods to Detroit Metal City. The four main girls are all named after members of the Japanese new wave band P-Model, with each playing the same instrument as their namesake. Sawaka and Nodoka are named after members of the Pillows, and the girls' instruments are all faithful recreations of their real-life units. Beyond that, even things as simple as Jun's reaction to the empty tube of toothpaste struck me. It's moments like this that help you connect to the characters. For a series so dependent on the viewer's relationship with the cast, it's crucial to make you relate with them. The girls' rooms all carry their sense of personality, from Yui's cute girly space filled with bright pinkish colors, to Ritsu's cooler style with the duller color palette. KyoAni has mastered the art of visual storytelling, and you can see it in the subtle ways they attach you to the world and characters. Because of that connection, the movie's climax is much more impactful. In a smart callback to the opening scene, Yui realizes Azusa's song doesn't need to be some crazy, over-the-top piece. They should just do what they normally do, something the other girls thought all along. The last 30 minutes of the film happen concurrently with the final episode of the series, however their performance is much more meaningful in context. The song finally puts Azusa's fears to rest, as the girls let her know they'll never leave her behind, no matter how far away they go. They've come to understand graduation is not the end, both literally in that all four will attend the same college together, and metaphorically. Even though it won't ever be the same, they'll always share their bond. Don't take my word for it, just look at the lyrics. That is K-On!'s final message. Change is a part of life. People come and go. Some leave an indelible mark on us, most don't, but the ones you love are always with you. Friends are forever. Sounds cheesy, I know, but after spending 40 episodes and a movie with these characters, it's really the perfect end. K-On! Breaks away from the trappings of throwaway moe shows, offering up a far more enriching experience. Sure, the slow pacing and laid-back tone are part of the appeal, but love it or hate it, K-On! Is not a show about nothing. Some like to criticize it because there's no conflict, If the girls never really fight or struggle to do anything, what's the point? Well, that's just it. K-on's conflict is in the girls' attempt to find their place. Each character sees immeasurable growth from beginning to end. Don't believe me? Just watch the first episode and the last back to back. Yui finds the purpose she's always been missing in her life. Ritsu takes on responsibility and finally becomes a dependable leader. Mia learns to have confidence in herself and becomes a much stronger person as a result. Mugi gains the experience she lost out on and finds a group she's truly a part of. And finally, there's Azusa. She scratches and claws to get the others to work, determined not to fall into their lazy attitude. For most of the series, Azusa's in denial over her place in the club, but thanks to a little push from Yui, she realizes she's just as much a part of the band as they are. Initially reluctant to join in their fun, Azusa eagerly wants to play with them by the end, finally seeing just how much they mean to her. You might be thinking, why would I want to watch a show where the stakes are so low? I watch anime for an escape from reality, not a reminder of it. Thing is, K-on! Does offer that escape. The show makes its world feel real and characters feel human, but the girls' fun is still a refreshing break from boring reality. Yes, K-on! Is about cute girls doing cute things, but it's also about the importance of friendship, enjoying every moment while you still can, doing what you love, and the willingness to take on whatever obstacles lie ahead. So the next time you dismiss it as a throwaway moe show, think back on the fun, hilarious, touching, and meaningful moments every episode has to offer.